Hello. Alright, I'm gonna try something new and record a video while I'm on the way to work since I ran out of time to do it at home, but traffic is terrible and I'm mostly sitting here anyways, so I may as well have a conversation and get into some gray area. I just got back in town kind of recently from vacation. I went to Vietnam and Thailand with this queer women travel group. It ended up being mostly masculine presenting women on the group, so kind of like a boys trip, which was really fun, actually. Really fun and really interesting. And I wanted to talk about some of the parallels, the interesting sort of weird parallels and differences between masculine presenting women and men, like masculine presenting men, I guess I could say, because there are feminine men as well. But yeah, like I feel like there's like an interesting space. I personally, I'm not attracted to masculine presenting women, but I'm attracted to masculine presenting men. And I was kind of thinking about it, like why am I'm like not, apparently I'm not just attracted to masculinity. But I don't know, there's something, but I also don't really talk to or date many men because they're so ingrained, a lot of them are so ingrained in patriarchy and haven't deconstructed that enough for me to feel comfortable or safe dealing with them in any meaningful, intimate way. Usually we can have conversation and like kind of regular stuff like that, but beyond that, it's a little iffy. So I will say, like with masculine women, I can get far deeper of a friendship connection with, for sure. But I feel like, I think one of the things that makes me a little bit sad about masculine presenting women is like with their masculine presentation, I feel like some of that patriarchy kind of crosses over, if you will, It's not just the men with the internalized kind of patriarchal bullshit, but I feel like some of the masculine women have it as well, including, and this is like a huge pet peeve of mine within like the gay, queer, sapphic, lesbian community, especially for mask on mask. And don't get me wrong, I think it's completely fine to have whatever preference you want. Like I prefer femmes, and I don't think it's nothing crazy for masks to prefer femmes and femmes to prefer masks, and it's also really supported and common for femmes to prefer femmes as well. But for some reason, mask on mask is seen in the community as being gay, and I'm like, do you guys hear yourselves? Like, do you hear how stupid and ridiculous that sounds, that a masked woman liking a masked woman is gay? And I'm like, that comes from the fucking patriarchy of men. Like, men aren't allowed to be gay and like each other. It's always been okay for feminine people to like each other, and because that is seen as less of a threat to the patriarchy. It's kind of like entertaining or sexy, sexualized. So femme on femme has always been. But because mask on mask does not appeal to the male gaze, like unless they're gay, and then that's a whole nother thing. Like people will be attracted to things and then be uncomfortable that they're attracted to things, or that it is appealing, because it's not socially acceptable for them to find mask on mask to be appealing. So then they'll just rage out and hate on people because they do like it. So you have like both directions going on at the same time. Like, not in our own community, we're like, we were talking about this, something being gay, and it's like, dude, you're still both women. Like, and it's okay to have a preference without being like, ew, that's gay. Like, I just feel like it's so, a lot of times it's said in jest or like it's a joke, but like, nah, you mean that shit. You said that on purpose. Like, you actually believe that, and you want to say it in a joking way to kind of soften it, because I feel like we kind of all know. I feel like it's pretty understood for a lot of the community that it's silly to call something gay when you are in fact gay. Calling something gay like an insult. Or like there's such a thing as being too gay. So yeah, being on this trip with all these masks, a conversation came up. Like, of course that conversation came up, like about how gay it is to be mask on mask. Like I said, for the most part, everything was like fun. It was great people. But yeah, I like choose to remove myself from that conversation, because I'm like, I'm not even gonna deal with this. Like, I just already know where this is going. I listened to part of it, and there was like a lovely femme on the bus that was like standing up for the intelligent part of the conversation. I hate to say that. I don't know if y'all watch this video. I mean, it doesn't mean they're necessarily unintelligent, but I think they are sadly just, I don't know, propagandized, socialized. You know, it's like swimming in water. We're kind of all in this societal upbringing with patriarchy and male supremacy as the sort of default. So it's not necessarily that, you know, these people are thinking this way and kind of repressing, or I don't know, perpetuating this type of mindset on purpose. But I do wish that people would kind of, you know, think about what they're saying a little bit harder, introspect a little bit more. And yeah, it's just like, we don't have the same level of like, oh my God, femme on femme, like, oh, that's gay. Like, I've never heard anybody talk about femme on femme as being like so gay, or so like, oh no, I just can't do that, man. Like, it's just like, it's such a simple like, oh yeah, no, I like masks, or I like femmes, and it's just like, it is what it is. And then we get the raised eyebrows and the like super gay and like the obnoxious laughter when it comes to like mask for mask, unless you're a femme, in which case a lot of femmes do think it's sexy, because again, it's anything that pleases the female gaze is always downplayed. Anything that pleases the male gaze is always elevated. Yeah, so mask for mask and gay men is not fit into the male gaze, and therefore, by proxy, the masculine sapphic gaze is often very, I feel like, very kind of skewed. Not as much as men, thankfully. I would say usually I haven't met any masks that like straight up were as bad about it as men are. But I feel like it's definitely an undercurrent that's good, like the kind of feigned disgust or real disgust. Honestly, I've seen both directions. And yeah, I feel like I was definitely the only. I think that if someone was actually mask for mask on the trip, or was there with like a masculine partner or something, like maybe they would be a little bit more respectful and a little bit more, I don't know, empathetic towards that. But since like none of us were really mask on mask, like I would be the closest to being mask for mask. I mean, look at me, I'm kind of like right on the borderline anyway. So I'm definitely the closest as far as my open-mindedness and my willingness to explore that. But yeah, I was like, dude, we gotta do better with like getting away from these norms, getting away from these societal norms. Like we're already not men, and we're not afforded the same kind of privileges and things as men. So it's like, why are we gonna take on their baggage of like things they can and cannot do because it's like weird, it goes against their masculinity, or like men are so, honestly feel really sorry for men. I feel sorry and I don't at the same time, because I feel like they're so repressed. I feel like they have to, like, the box that they have to fit into is so tiny of like what is like proper masculinity and what is considered manly, and a lot of it is dehumanizing to both them, dehumanizing to the men, and dehumanizing to the women as well, to be quite honest. Of course, like, we see the dehumanizing of the women more obviously, but it dehumanizes the men kind of just as much, because now the men are not supposed to be in tune with their emotions. They're still very emotional, but just without the tools and without the internal capability to process those emotions healthily and to talk to their parents or their friends or talk to anybody about them out loud without being ridiculed oftentimes. So yeah, their emotions just come out in like the very few kind of most animalistic versions, like anger and fear, and mostly anger and insecurity and lashing out. Like, all the negative versions of emotions is a lot of what we end up seeing, because all of this repression against being able to fully express and explore their sexuality just as freely as women can, I think is a huge part of it, and a huge part of the disdain for mask on mask across the board is that men aren't given that same permission slip. Like, all women, I knew really early on that I really was glad that I was born a girl, because I knew that I had a lot of interests that didn't line up with girly things. I knew I wasn't super feminine, but I knew that it was okay for me to be that way. Like, I was like there was a few guys that had things to say about it while I was growing up, but it was like just random ass old men at like the YMCA or something. It was like literally meant nothing to me. Or like random men at work that, again, literally meant nothing to me. And even from a young age, when I didn't understand fully why men would have an issue with me presenting in a certain way, or not being the girliest, or not being into certain girly things, I knew that it was a them problem and not a me problem, and everybody else was like totally fine with it. Now, if I had been a boy and I had been as like I am, where I'm so flexible and like there are some girly things that I like, and I'm very girly in my nature and how I react to things. I squeal, I giggle, I get excited, and like I love to be I'm kind of happy and bubbly when I want to be. And if I was a guy, everybody would just assume I was gay. Like, I feel like my sexuality would be exactly the same as it is now, which is like mostly women. But I think everybody would assume I was gay. I would be put into so many boxes, and I like from college, I guess I was not that early, but like in college, I was like, I'm so glad that I'm not gonna be put in a box. Like, I can explore this. I can go buy my first pair of cargo shorts, start dressing a little bit more boyish, see how it feels. And yeah, it just got me positive attention. The more I have explored my creative expression, the more I've explored my sexuality, the more I have explored my kind of everything that brings me joy and puts me in like my authentic, more embodied version of myself, has all been met with positivity, positive reactions, like amazing people that are into that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't feel like I've ever really been ridiculed, other than by other mask queer women, I would say. Funny enough, like if I think back to, thankfully it hasn't been a lot. It's been very, very rare to be like, let me clarify. It hasn't been a lot, but I feel like the main people I remember kind of talking shit about me, or, you know, saying anything kind of like just off, it has been certain mask queer women that are like so invested in like the sort of stereotype, like I said, the stereotype patriarchal version of masculinity, the stereotypical, I should say, and kind of performing masculinity as opposed to just being in your comfortable natural masculine energy, which to me, I believe that both masculine and feminine energy are in, like, ideally want to be in a balance in all of us. Like, we all have both energies. Some people show up, have more comfort in one energy versus the other, and it can change a lot over time and change based on the situation. I definitely get more into my masculine energy for certain situations or people, and then more into my feminine energy depending on the situation or person. It's just like, you know, different things bring out different sides of everyone. And then I feel like where you get into trouble is you get people that are not actively embracing both their energies. You get people that are trying so hard to be in a certain energy because they feel like that's the energy that's either gonna, like, get them more respect or it feels good to their ego. And again, if it's done through ego, my argument is that that's a performance. That's not your true energy. Like, that's just, it's like a, what do you call it? Like a protection mechanism, like, or a trauma response. I feel like sometimes it's a trauma response. Sometimes it's a mechanism just to, like, if you think that people will respect you or see you a certain way, if you present this hard exterior, for masc people and men especially, the hard exterior is so praised. It's so elevated and pedestalized to be hard, to be tough, to be strong, which, like, that's not true strength. Having a hard shell, a hard exterior, being super walled, that's not actually true strength. Like, strength is in vulnerability and, like, understanding your humanity and being in touch with your empathy and even human, like, your weakness as a human. That's where you get your actual true strength from, because you're being honest with yourself. And when you're being honest, you're not trying to put on a facade that you're untouchable. You're not trying to put on a facade that everything is okay all the time and you're like this superhero. Oh, damn it, I'm gonna be late to work. Whoops. Traffic is so bad. Anyways, so yeah, that's my thoughts and musings on masculinity from queer women and just, like, queer masculinity, and the sad parallels to toxic masculinity of cishet men. Yeah, I don't like either version. I think that's why I don't like either version, and that's why I don't tend to like the only masc women there's only been, like, maybe one masc woman or maybe 1.5 that I was intrigued by and was like, you know what, I would give this person a chance. And they were so comfortable in their feminine energy, like, and they express like a good range of feminine energy just as well, or in addition to their masculine energy. And that's not, I feel like, sadly, that's not as common to find, I think, as it should be. And then with men, yeah, I'm attracted to them, but yeah, they just don't. A lot of them just don't know how to treat women, especially, like, an unusual woman like myself. I don't know. They don't know how to treat women, period. I don't even think it has to do with me being, like, a masculine presenting woman. I think it's just in general. I do tend to, the ones that are interested in me do tend to be, like, a little bit more on the open-minded side, because, like, if they've already gotten past that that kind of BS part of patriarchy, where it's like, oh, you have to only, like, talk to a certain type of, like, you have to get, like, the high femme kind of, like, super girly girl. Like, okay, so they've already deconstructed that they can be attracted to whatever type of women they want to be attracted to, and they don't need to go for, like, a specific type. So I'm like, that's usually a good sign. But they haven't deconstructed still like other shit that is like ingrained, unfortunately, which is just like just treating women like people, or like they see me as a woman and like a option because they can tell I'm a woman, of course, still, but they still just see me as an object and not as an entire full autonomous being with my own thoughts and opinions and activities and hobbies and loves. And yeah, like when you know what, I should also make a video, not today, not right now, but I should also make a video as a reminder, note to self, on what I was just about to say. Shoot, I forgot it that fast. Finally got out of traffic. Actually, you know what? I'll just say it in that video when I make it, because it'll come to me like as soon as I get to work, probably. All right, bye. Peace and love.